Welcome to this MBL webinar, International Transfer Risk Assessments, UK and EU Requirements. I'm Robert Bond. In the next hour or thereabouts, I'm going to be covering this particular topic. On this slide here, I've put my bio. I'm not going to go through this word for word. I think most of you will know me anyway. But essentially, I've been doing data protection since 1983, and an awful lot of what I've done over the years is around international data transfers. So what we will cover in this webinar is what do we mean by adequate and non-adequate countries, and I'll give you a slide that lists those at the moment. What do we mean by the transfer risk issues? How do we do a transfer risk assessment? How do we then put in place data transfer solutions? Some of the recent regulatory decisions over assessments and or appropriate transfer models. And then I'm going to finish thinking about some of the interrelated risks to do with data protection that might cover things like privacy by design, cybersecurity, and of course, inevitably, artificial intelligence. So the overarching control under the GDPR for transferring data internationally is in Article 44, which states that controllers and processors must control the transfer of personal data, particularly where it is going outside of the European Economic Area, that's the EU plus Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein, and or the UK under the UK GDPR, to third countries. And when we talk about third countries, we mean primarily those which are not deemed adequate by the European Commission or by the ICO. When we talk about an onward transfer, it doesn't have to be of large volume personal data. It could be limited, small amounts. It could be, and often is, of course, very large amounts. And I've put on this slide here, it doesn't matter if the data is pushed or pulled, it is transferred. So you can have an organization in the UK which happens to have a parent company in the US, and if it's the US parent that is pulling the personal data off the system, off the server, that is as much a transfer as if the UK had pushed it to the parent company in the US.